Ajitpal, hey, congratulations for your film, Fire in the Mountains.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, how does it feel that it was showcased at the Sundance Film Festival?
Kind of surreal, honestly, because it's like you feel great that it's been selected for Sundance Film Festival. Also, because it was kind of a dream to get premiered at Sundance. But then, because of the COVID-19, you can't go. So that whole lack of experience, like doesn't matter how hard you try to replicate it in the virtual world, it's still like that feeling of being there and then walking out and then meeting not everybody, but usually what happens, like few people, sometimes one or two or four or five people connect so deeply with your story because they have had the same similar life experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see that those people are moved, or they haven't got a new insight into their own stories. That's the satisfaction, that tells you, okay, I know why I make films, because of this ability of other human being to connect so deeply.
Mm.
you know? So that's like something you can't replicate in the virtual world.
when you first started this project, who did you thought your audiences was going to be for a movie like this?
uh, so honestly, I it's kind of contradictory. Like, I don't think of the audience, but at the same time I write as if I'm writing it for the audience. Like, okay, I want to make them feel this, I want to manipulate them here, I want them to go home thinking like this. How do I do that? But at the same time, it's not that it's that I want Indian audience or Western audience or European audience. Not like that. It's I think it's like this, when you write literature, whether you are like a good literature, whether you're from Japan or India or from Hong Kong, you're kind of aware that you're not writing a pot boiler thriller that everybody is going to buy from the bookshelf and the books will vanish. You're
Mm-hmm.
always kind of aware that you will have few people in all the parts of the world,
Yeah.
so you write for them, people who are spread all around the world, for this kind of storytelling.
Well, I've heard you had a really good reception this week on your film, so congratulations with that.
Thank you.
So Ajit tell us where the original idea came from Fire in the Mountain.
The original idea came from when my cousin sister, she died because her husband didn't take her to the hospital, thinking she is possessed by a ghost. So that 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 news was really disturbing, and I kept thinking for many days actually. I was writing notes, like how could this happen. I have a habit of writing my diary, and then you feel angry on your brother-in-law. But then the more you think, you realize that he is also a product of a society. So if we have created a society in a certain way, he is going to behave in a certain ways. If
Mm-hmm.
I look at all of it from his point of view, he was probably doing the right thing. Not knowing that this will make my sister leave this planet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was the seed of the idea, and then other things happened at the same time, and I started writing. Yeah.
So how did you get the setting into basically from near the Himalayas? Are you from the northern part of India, or are you from a different area?
I am from the northern part of India, from Punjab, but we don't have Himalayas in Punjab, and the culture is very different. So the reason we shot the film in Himalayas is basically my producer. So when he saw my last short film, Rammat Gammat, and he really loved it. So he said, let's do a feature film together and we shoot it in the Himalayas, Uttarakhand. I said, but why Himalaya? And he's like, because I can control the budget there. So I said, okay. I mean, I get it. Like, budget is very important. So I went to Uttarakhand. I did 5 months of research, and then I set it up in Uttarakhand, actually.
So what was it difficult to find that location, that specific village for the perfect with with the house and all this kind of stuff? What was it difficult and challenging to find that?
Yes, it was difficult because what I was looking when I went for location scouting was not only a village that has Himalayan view. That would have been easy, like there are so many villages like which had the view of the Himalaya. But it was the energy that mattered a lot for me. Like a village which is at the cross of modernity and tradition, where I can see that conflict is already going on, where the parents are also struggling with modernity and tradition while their children have gone to the social media. The tourists come there, there's an interaction. So usually what happens in a very traditional society, money doesn't really matter that much because it's more of a barter system, that they do farming together, they build each other's houses together. But I wanted a village where the modernity has come and money has become important.
Hmm.
So having all of it together was not easy. And I was kind of aware that it's going to take time to find this village. So rather than having a location manager and the entire crew doing the location scouting, it was only a driver, small car, and me, just two of us. And we traveled around a month and a half to find this village.
One of the things that I know is usually for someone out of area, you're not aware of the weather or the conditions surrounding, newer locations. Did you have to rush your film hoping that you don't have to face winter or maybe perhaps other dangers like leopards in your film?
Yeah. So yes, I mean, weather did affect us. And as you said, not being from there, but I had a lot of local information and also the internet. And we did study that the monsoon will end in September, but it did not end. Like, it just did not end. So we had a different plan for us. We had many more shots planned in the beautiful sunlight, but there was no sunlight. So we went wrong. I mean, not that we went wrong. The monsoon got delayed by a month. So we had to finish interior in the first go. Then we had to do the night shoot inside the house. Then we ran out of more schedule. Like, what do we do? It's raining outside. What do we do? So then we created day for night, night for the night during the day to shoot more sequences. We did lot of things and we waited for the monsoon to end. But in the beginning, before the first day of the shoot, like 2 days before the shoot, our light truck got stuck because of the landslide.
Oh.
So they were coming and a piece of road in front of them just vanished. And then they tried to go back and take another route, but then a piece of road behind them also vanished. So they were stuck in a kind of island, not able to go out ahead or back. Then army came in, they built a small road on which you could only walk. So then we took the equipment from that truck, walked and carried the equipment in another truck, and that's how we got the light. So we shot first 2 days we shot without lights. We didn't have light.
Culturally, you spent a few months researching the area. Was it a hard adjustment to culturally adapt that area to your script, and how did you want to pull it off production wise? Because, like, for example, the house wise, you have to decorate it with the area culturally, for example.
So basically, what I did, even before I started writing the first draft, I stayed in Uttarakhand for 20 or 30 days, I think. And out of those days, for 15 days, I was just staying with one family in a village. Like even before I started writing the screenplay. So a lot of detail came from that trip, like the leopard, like I saw one day. I didn't see the leopard, but I remember I woke up around 2 in the night and there was like people shouting. And I went out and I learned that a leopard has taken away a dog. So I was also wondering why dog? Why not a goat? Why not a cow? And then they said because it's very easy for the leopard to take the dog and because the dog walks to the leopard.
Yeah, that's true.
It goes there to thinking it can fight the leopard and then the leopard takes it away. So all this information was already there. In terms of going to this particular location, yes, we adapted our screenplay according to this village. And then the house and everything that you see is basically was very different, very, very, very different actually. The original house. We painted it, we aged it, we changed it. It was a house of, you can say, one well-to-do family in the village. But it had the cinematic possibility that we wanted, like in terms of its position, the size of the room, its structure, everything was there for us. So we did the entire design. Like for example, the kitchen was completely a modern kitchen in the house, and we made it a traditional kitchen, and then we again made it a modern kitchen before we left. Yeah, so that way it's a very well designed film. It's like it may look like as if this house was there or these costumes were there, but no, nothing was really there. We had to design everything in our color palette.
So it was movie magic, is what you're saying. So even when I watch it, I feel like the house is small, but in reality, it's not small. Like for example, one of the scenes where Chandra was going around destroying everything. That wasn't like a very small room. That was actually comfortable. I don't want to say comfortable, but like spacious enough where he could actually throw things, right?
Yes.
So tell me about the cast, because one of the things that I was very astonished was how the cast worked so well together, where it's basically it's like a family that stays together but doesn't seem to get along with each other. How did you find that perfect cast together?
So there were many things that came together for in terms of casting actually, and I think the biggest contribution has been from the casting director Taran Bajaj, who really worked very hard. Another reason would has been that I made 4 short films, and in the first 2 or 3 short films, the performers were not good, and I also learned that I'm very good at making images. I'm very good at technicalities of making films, also visualizing how a scene can be done without dialogues. But my weakness has always been working with actors. So I started working on it, that no, this time I'm going to work with actor and I'm going to get the performance that I want to get. So I read a lot before going for the shooting about how to work with the actors. I read different school of acting, and I also decided that I will not force any actor to work according to how I want them to work. I will learn how they work and then help them in their own process. So the reason we were able to have this kind of family was this almost 1 week of script reading before the shooting, and that was very intense. It was intense because me or no, anybody else, none of us were telling the actors what do we want. Like I was not telling them this is what I want. I wanted them to find out what is the script asking them to do, and I wanted them to find out what is hidden beneath. Like it's so easy for a character who plays Dharam or Chandra to play that my goal in the film is to build a road.
Yeah.
But that's so superficial. That's like just the top layer. What actually she wants is a much bigger thing, which is basically that I am the breadwinner. I am the woman who runs this family. I am the woman who earns for this family. I am the woman who sacrifices this family. Can't you open your eyes and start seeing and give me respect for that? This is what she wanted in her heart. Same with Dharam. On upper, it feels like okay, he wants wants Jagar, that ceremony. But actually, he has lost his place in the family. He's not the head of the family anymore.
Mhm.
So his deeper need is to become the head of the family all over again. So when we were doing research, reading, we were all asking these many questions. What does Dharam want? What does Chandra want? What happened to her that has made her like that? Like, why is she so rational? We had this kind of, why is she so rational? Her husband is not rational. She lives in a village that is not rational. She's part of a society that is not rational. So what exactly happened to her to make her a woman like this? Then the actor would make their own backstory that I had a grandmother who died in a ritual like this. Since that day, I have stopped liking these rituals. So what happened by the time we were shooting, before the shooting, it was so intense that if another actor felt that your character is wrong, this actor will defend it so hard. They fought. They started fighting with each other, trying to defend what they are doing. They hated when somebody said that you're wrong. They reached to a place where it became their point of view, character's point of view.
Mhm.
And then it was easy. Then it was easy shooting because they had this world built in their head. And that's exactly what I wanted. Like I keep saying this to actor when I meet them for audition, that cinema is not theater. You don't have to emote. Cinema is basically there's a camera. If when we go to a coffee shop and when we look around, we see a couple sitting there, and we can kind of figure out whether they are in love or they are falling apart, or they just had a fight. We can just figure it out just by watching them.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Because we pick so much. So in cinema, if the actor can run the story in detail in their mind, you know, like if they're really going through the same conflict that a real person goes through, and if they're really watching the other actor to get what they want to get from that actor, there will be authenticity in that. So they had built that world in their mind to deliver these authentic performances.
That's an excellent process. The boy character in your film is the catalyst for everything, because I feel like if the boy walked, a lot of this stuff would not happen. Why did you want to add that aspect into the film? Because it was something different that a lot of people don't realize, how the boy's actions actually reciprocate through the
Yeah,
entire
yeah,
story. Yeah.
yeah. So initially, it was the story was written from the boy's point of view. Like how what happens to you when your parents are like opposite, like they believe in opposite things. And also it was from boy's point of view in a way that if you are a very sensitive artistic boy in a society which values study and merit and aggression, what happens to you? you know but then I realized that more interesting point of view is the point of view of the mother, not of the boy.
Hmm.
So then I started changing the entire story from the point of view of Chandra. So then I just wanted to retain what she knows and a little bit more than what she knows, for the audience to have this slightly God's perspective, but still as a perspective of mostly Chandra. So yeah, coming back to the boy, it's basically same. Like, as a kid, when I grew up in the villages for 16 years of my life. I was in the village. And I was also a very sensitive kid,
Yeah.
very sensitive, who liked books, who liked painting, who liked music, and study not so much. Like I really like study when it was fun, when the teachers were good, but I didn't like when you have to pass, study for exams and this and that. and then you don't like going to school. And another problem is if you're not aggressive, then society really punishes you. Even the kids, and kids are really, really like, we think kids are kind, God-hearted. They are not. They can be really mean. They can be really, really cruel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is also what I wanted to talk from boys' point of view. Yeah.
No, I think you did a really excellent job. I actually caught all that, especially the fact that the mother was technically the lead character, not the boy, but the boy's actions led to what the mother,
Yeah.
the father, everybody to do. Now, one of the things that was also fascinating, especially from the other side of the world, is we are not aware of, the religious activities that are actually inputted in it. Was it Hindu that was actually presented, and other religious stuff that was into your film?
No, it's all purely Hindu actually.
Okay.
And also these rituals are so specific from Uttarakhand, from this region. Like the similar ceremony doesn't happen in Punjab.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, it's very specific from, so because this and not only it doesn't happen in Punjab, but also within Uttarakhand, they do it differently every 100 kilometers.
Oh,
So ceremony changes. You travel from 100 kilometers to there, it will be a different form. It will be still the same. There will be fire in the center. There will be some chanting, some priest, but the details will start changing.
so tell me about this ritual that you portrayed in it. What was the purpose of that ritual actually?
As I said, originally I had thought of setting up the film in Punjab, from where I come from where my cousin sister come from, because I know that culture so well. And then when I went to Uttarakhand, in the beginning I was like, okay, but how am I going to set up something here where I don't really know the culture very well? And then I met one of my uncle, and I was telling him about my cousin sister, and he said, things like that happen in Uttarakhand all the time. I said, okay, tell me more. And then he told me about a driver he had who had severe diabetes, and so severe that one day when he was driving, his finger snapped.
Mm.
And uncle stopped him, and he said, like, you go to the hospital right away. And he gave him 50,000 rupees cash, and he called the doctor in the hospital that my driver is coming, admit him. But the driver went to his village to do the ritual. He spent that money not on the treatment, but on doing the ritual. And then 3 months later, he died.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, what is this ritual? And then they told me about this ritual. So ritual is like this, that if you have a problem in your family, it can be any kind of problem, like a medical problem, say you are not getting a job, or your wife is taking divorce from you, any problem under the sun. So what you do, you take some rice from your house and you go to the priest with puchar, with called puchar, and he will throw that rice into the air, and he will read some mantras, and then he will study the rice, and he will suggest the solution in jagar. Like, he will tell you to do jagar, but he will also give you more detail why you should jagar, and which god or goddesses the jagar should be about.
Hmm.
So it's very complicated. The ceremony is really, really, really complex. So to simplify it, I avoided providing all the information, because if once I start providing information, then there is a lot. Like, you can write this thick book on which or god or goddesses the jagar is going to be about. So to make it short, you do the jagar. In jagar, what happens is that there are those people who play drum and sing, and it's a very trippy trance music.
Yeah.
And then they invite god and goddesses to enter into the bodies of people who are sitting there. They are called dangriya. So different god and goddesses will enter into the bodies of these people. Okay. And these people are well known. Like, these are the people in whose body god or goddesses has entered earlier.
Hmm.
So now everybody knows that these are the people in whom the god and goddesses will enter today also. But then there are surprises. Somebody new in whom god or goddess has never entered before gets purchased. That's that also happens. So then what happens once all this happens, then the head of the family, the man, he will ask one of the god or goddesses that this is the problem in my family, tell me what is the solution. Then that person, who is not a person anymore but is a god or goddesses, will give you the solution, that this is the solution, you do this and everything will be all right. So this is how this ritual goes, and I think, I really think that it's it somehow works for some people, not for everybody,
Hmm.
but for some people it can really work. It can work in a way that, our mind is a machine. Like,
Yeah.
if it keeps thinking that everything is wrong with my family, everything is wrong, everything start going wrong with your family. And suddenly this one ritual can start telling the mind that everything is going to be all right, everything is going to be all right. It's like, motivational speakers, like reading motivational book, how you just change the perspective in your mind. So these rituals play a part that way. They are not really completely ineffective, but you can't cure cancer, diabetes, these kind of things with these rituals. You can't make a boy walk with these rituals. That's the point I wanted to put across, actually.
I think you ended the film very well, but I'm curious. Did you try to participate in a ritual once to see, just to see?
No, not me, but my mother used to get possessed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. When I was a kid, she used to get possessed, and I have witnessed her getting possessed, and I have witnessed her screaming, shouting, getting angry, crying. And as a kid, I used to be really scared, like, oh shit, my mom is possessed by a goddesses. But later, much, much later, what I learned was this, that, when as a woman, the rural Indian society, or in general, actually, almost everywhere in the world, as a woman, you don't have outlets to express what is going on with you, like the way man has in a village. He
Hmm.
has other friends, he can go and get drunk, he can scream, he can come home and beat his wife, he can abuse her. There's so many outlets for a man available to express their rage. For a woman, these outlets are not really there. So this becomes one of their outlet. This is the day when everything that they have been holding inside, the music helps to bring it up.
Mm.
You become violent, you start dancing, you start screaming, you start shouting, you start beating those people who have caused harm to you, and it's acceptable. Nobody is going to stop you that day. It's totally acceptable. So as a woman, you enter in this kind of trance, whom some people can say they are possessed, but for me, they are not really possessed. They have left this reality, and they are experiencing another reality which we can't see,
Yeah.
but their mind is helping them see that new another reality, a reality in which they are trying to find solution, they are trying to find peace.
But they also believe in spirits and ghosts, right? Not just god and goddesses, because you actually included in the scene where
Yeah,
the father actually thought he saw a ghost.
yeah. So they are that I included. Yes, they do believe in ghosts and spirits.
This is a cultural awakening for some of us on the other side of the world. That's why this film is very very fascinating for us. So let's talk about yourself here. So what is next for you? Because I'm assuming India, unlike the rest of the world, isn't closed off to filmmaking. You're actually probably on your next project already, because I could tell all your note cards in the back.
Yes, so I have been writing a musical, and it's set in Delhi.
Hmm.
It's a story of two people who come from different religion, and both are at a place where they know that they need to start taking a lot of responsibility, and they don't have time for romance. Like, the life has put them in a place where, like, there's no time for romance, And that's the time when they meet the best person that they could have ever imagined. And now what are they going to do? Because they know that they can't fall in love.
Yeah.
So what are they going to do? So
So you're working on a musical. Are you going to be working on films also next for you?
yeah, this is a film. This
Oh,
musical is
that's
a film.
it's a
It's a
musical film.
musical film. And apart from that, I'm working on a web series
Mhm.
with a it's a commission project, the
Oh,
web series. Yeah, I'll make some money. I'll replace this board with a bigger board. With a bigger board.
well, I'm sure. You know, once you get distribution for your film, you'll get more notoriety and more financing
Yeah,
for
yeah,
future
yeah,
projects. I mean, that's the goal for
yeah.
you. Well, I could tell you have a love for storytelling. So, hey, Ajitpal, congratulations once
Thank
again
you. Thank you.
for your film on Fire in the Mountain, and thank you for speaking with us regarding your film, because it's a very unique film and it's very entertaining, you know, and it was shown at Sundance, and not a lot of people could say that their film was shown at the
Yeah,
Sundance.
yeah. Thank you so much for writing to us and doing this interview. It really like, I mean, these are the moments which makes you happy, you know. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice sleep well. I think it's night, right?
Night time for me, but you have a good day. Bye.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.